Niska name is Hichlachunquach, which means morning sun. Wapgalt Sap, which is the name of the building, is a very important house for the community in that the word Wap means house as a physical structure, but it also means house, which is a place that houses all of the souls of the ancestors. It's a place also for the future and where everyone can feel safe. So Wapgalt Sap is the house of the community, and that means that everyone in this community now has a house where they can come. Maybe students in their first year can come here and feel that they're maybe not so far away from home. It's also a place where they can meet with their elders and learn about tradition. This building, I think, has the potential to make a significant community change and also to be a place where you come in and you feel like a different person in some ways. It has that spiritual aspect. Well, when we brought the poles over, I think that I was still in my own mind working because I was thinking about how the pathway itself had been designed for this procession to accommodate enough people so that with the big arc so that we could all come through the front door. The main building is supported by the exterior walls and these 4 columns here, which are then bridged across and supported with a buildup of timbers and poles the way it would have been done traditionally. One of the key aspects of working with that is that things have to be notched together to understand exactly how these large logs are going to shrink over time. Also, the clear story element, or what is called in MAJ-ic the ala, was a very important part of traditional design because that was how fresh air and light would come into the building. In the center of the building is the fire where heat is provided, and as well that was a place where the food for the extended family would be cooked.
Wilpelhusk Niska, the Niska University, will soon have a new campus designed by Nancy Mackin. The main building, daycare center, residences, and science building recall the Niska Longhouse, where elders have for countless generations imparted their wisdom to younger citizens. Nancy has spent over a decade working with Indigenous communities to reconstruct their ancient architectural forms. Examples include this igloo reconstruction, which she spearheaded in April 2016 in Cambridge Bay, Nunavut, and this willow structure constructed with high school students in Inuvik, Northwest Territories the previous November. This play structure and daycare center are in the Niska village of Lakhaltsap on the far northern tip of the BC coastline. The daycare center borrows its shed-roofed form from the cookhouse structures, while the hyperbolic paraboloid roof of the play structure references how young people represent the future while retaining the wisdom of their elders. The Coast Salish people of southwestern British Columbia, including the Tsawwassen First Nation, were architectural innovators. Their longhouses were the first curtain wall buildings to be built anywhere in the world. The 2 linked longhouses of the Tsawwassen Youth Center represent the 2 age groups within the center. The younger set, from kindergarten to grade 7, will have a large play space named the Otters. On the opposite side of the building, the teen longhouse contains a social space called the Wolf Pack. Architectural artwork that will add to the oral histories encoded in the design include carved welcome poles depicting 2 young people and 2 large cast glass windows depicting the stories that led to the room names that were carefully chosen and voted on by young Tsawwassen First Nations citizens.
Bill Jamieson designs and creates custom kiln-cast architectural glass panels which meet aesthetic and engineered specifications. From my earliest recollections, I have been fascinated by the play of light. I create custom work both in-house and in collaboration with First Nations artists, which explores texture, pattern, and brilliance. I strive to execute First Nations designs both accurately, but also in a way that broadens the dialogue created through the visual language of art and expression. The creation of the Salish Sea Panel. Once the master drawing has been accepted, the image is transferred onto a material which looks and feels like felt. This material is manufactured as a gasket material used in industry to separate metal components subjected to high temperatures. In the case of the Salish C panel, the mold was cut out, leaving a positive and negative image. The negative image was attached to a flat base for imprinting the design. The kiln has been designed and built to allow access from all sides. The base of the kiln is like a large table on which sits a bed of sand. The sand is leveled and allows for patterning in addition to the felt-like material. The negative image is imprinted onto the sand. The sand is then sculpted to create the mountains and valleys in as accurate a manner as possible. The design is keyed to allow the prepared glass to be brought and matched up with the prepared negative space. Once the patterning is complete, it is covered with powdered plaster of Paris, which acts as a release agent. The next step is to attach the positive prepared mold material to the prepared glass panel. The glass panel has been cut from 10 mm thick annealed float glass cut to the size required. The glass is then brought to the kiln and carefully laid upon the prepared sand bed mold. The glass is given a final cleaning, and then the kiln is fired to a slumping temperature. The glass soaks at this temperature, and the design is transferred to the glass. After the glass has been properly annealed and cooled, it is removed and cleaned in preparation for the next stages of its process, which may include water jet cutting, edge polishing, sandblasting, tempering and face polishing, fabrication into insulated glazed units, and installation. Chief Bryce Williams is the current Tsawwassen First Nations chief and is a skilled and accomplished First Nations artist who employs his art and leadership skills to enhance the lives of young people in his community and beyond. Elected to the Tsawwassen First Nation legislature at just 19 years old, Chief Williams has worked with Dr. Mackin and others on architectural art projects that feature Coast Salish art and design in both traditional and modern interpretations. He is a key part of the architectural art for the Tsawwassen First Nation Youth Center. The honoring figure. The honoring figure is based on a traditional welcome figure carved by Coast Salish peoples. Traditionally, there would be two such figures in village sites, one male, one female. Welcome figures have open arms to welcome other tribe members. This figure was carved and sculpted to honor Emma and Felix Jack and all other Coast Salish people that visited or lived on Main Island. Main Island is part of the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples. John Aiken, a well-known artist and grandson of Emma and Felix Jack, well-respected Main Island residents, has carved the 20-foot figure from a Main Island red cedar over a 2-year period. To honor the island's first inhabitants and the diversity of all who live and visit here, an honoring figure was commissioned in 2007 and placed in Emma and Felix Jack Park. The unveiling ceremony took place in 2009. The honoring figure was commissioned and paid for by the Main Island Garden Club through contributions by the community.